Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If my room looks kind of off, it's because my floodlight that goes in this corner actually broke. So I currently only have one floodlight right now. I bought another one that's supposed to come in soon. It's supposed to come in tomorrow. So all my videos after this video and all my videos before this video will have two floodlights, but this video only has one. So that corner is suspiciously dark. Also, peep, you can't really see it, but I have like a brand new Pom Pom Purin plushie that's like sitting over here. It's the Burger Squishmallow one. It was so cute, and Sanrio had it on sale for $20. Well, it wasn't on sale. It was just like available for sale, so I bought it. So now I have him, and he's not available anymore. I'm waiting for them to stock the cupcake ones. I can get the cupcake Pom Pom Purin. But I'm getting distracted. Let's get into this video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be teaching y'all how to go and make sub badges. And from my experience, there's about 3 different types of sub badges. Wow, I am so overexposed right now. Alright, but shameless plug, this is my Etsy shop. So I would say there is about 3 different types of sub badges. The first one being a type like this, or like this one, my most popular one. Alright, so this one is the first type and the most common type, which I like to call an evolution sub badge. And this is what I'll be showing you guys how to go and make today. But basically, it's when you start off with like one form and then it evolves and gets more and more fancy and complicated until the last form or the last badge, or the final badge, you know? Because, you know, a sub badge, it shows how long you've been subscribed to a streamer for in monthly intervals. So obviously, somebody with a 1-year sub should have like this really fancy badge so that they can go and flex that they're cool. And somebody who just started subbing, you know, will have like a smaller badge, but they could evolve into getting the bigger one as they've subbed for longer. Another different type is just a recolor of the same style. So if you notice this badge that I've made, these Pocky badges, it's the same style. Like, it's all just the same Pocky box. They're just colored differently with like a little bit variation in design, but the base is completely the same. And the third type is generally used for like it's used for sub badges, bit badges, but it's just different stuff, but they're all themed the same. So this one's a moon, this one's a comet, this one's Saturn, a star, a cloud, and another moon? What did I make? What the heck? But yeah, so they're all like the same space theme, but they're all different items. You can tell the base is completely different for every single drawing, and each icon I had to draw separately. So this one uses the same base, and this one kind of uses the same base, but this one, each one's different. So for this type of sub badge, I basically draw them as if I was drawing an emote. Like, I make a new thing for a new working file for every single one of these images, whereas with these two, I work in the same file. So what does that mean? Let me go and show you. So we're gonna wanna go and open up our drawing program of choice. I just like to draw in Clip Studio Paint EX. Look at the axolotl emotes that I've made. Alright, here we are, and I will be making an updated emote drawing tutorial soon at some point. I just kind of want to wait for this floodlight to come back because I'm feeling kind of dark, you know what I mean? Like, I like the blue, I like the brightness it happens. Anyways, we're gonna make a new canvas, and I like to work in a 2000 by 2000 canvas with 300 DPI. Now, a lot of people are always like, oh, but you don't need to make it 300 DPI because you're not going to go print it out. Yeah, but what if I want to make frolic sub badges that I want to make into stickers later? I like keeping the options open. That down the line, if I do want to print it out or I do want to use it for something, I don't have to completely try to scale up the art or to remake it entirely because I made it too small to begin with. I always like being safe and just working with a large canvas size and just downscaling later. So that way you avoid the pixelation. So this is the canvas size that I like to work in, and we're gonna hit okay. So when making an evolution sub badge, I like to draw the final form first, and then we work backwards. I just will sketch out the final form first. This being said, you wanna think for a second, okay? Because you want to make 6 sub badges. Why? Because affiliates can get up to 6 sub badges. So you have your base sub badge, then 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year. Affiliates can only get up to 1 year. Partners can get beyond that. So to make it inclusive, you want to make sure that you at least can think of evolutions for up to 6 sub badges. So from the base to the 1 year. So I personally really like Sailor Moon, so I'm going to be working on a Sailor Moon themed sub badge. I think using her bow would be really cute, so I'm gonna incorporate that. Now, I will kind of use the symmetry tool to fix this up because I know it's not symmetrical, but hear me out, right? So when thinking about the sub badge, this will be the base sub badge. This will be the base bow, right? So this will be the if you just newly subbed 1 month, this is what you're gonna get, right? And then we have to build up from there. We want to add things that will make it more extravagant to make it more fancy. You want to make sure that your sub badge fits as big or as wide as it can be, because sub badges are really small. They're even smaller than emotes. The biggest sub badge size is 72 by 72. So if we make our sub badge too small, I've made this mistake in the past where I've made it kind of like, I kind of have my sub badge like this, you know? Like this, and then you see all this extra space. It's gonna look so tiny as a sub badge if you do it this way. Instead, we want to fill up as much space as possible. Again, I'm kind of like consciously leaving room because I like to add a heavy black outline around all my art. So I'm kind of leaving room for the outline that will inevitably get added. So this is kind of like roughly where I want the sub badge size-wise to go. You see how close it is to the borders here, these sections of my bow. Maximizing space here. And then next variation, okay? I'm just trying to like word vomit to try to walk you through my thought process. What should be the next evolution? Like the second, if you were 2 months sub to me, what should you get, you know? Kind of going along with the Sailor Moon theme, you know, maybe if I add some like moon symbol to the center of the bow. Alright, I decided to add this detailing to the center of the bow for version 2, or like the first upgrade, second upgrade. You want to make sure you avoid adding too fine of details. I know the way the bow actually looks, there's like a lot of fine detail in it, but you have to take into account the fact that sub badges are super small. If I added a lot of fine detail and we zoomed out, you could barely see even the like star I just added. Any fine detail you add will not be visible. So we want to make sure any changes that we add will be big so that it can be noted when it's downscaled down to the sub badge size. Okay, so version 3 now, and again, just to try to color code it so it's easier to see, I'm making every like new version with a different color. So we're gonna add the tails to the bow. So version 4, I want to add this like upper portion. I'm basically trying to mimic the necktie portion of the front piece. So I'm trying to make that blue and to mimic the necktie. So that's gonna be version 4. So this detail might be a little bit difficult to see. Hopefully it'll be visible, but version 5, I'm going to add the little moon that's supposed to be the choker above the bow like so. And I know, okay, it's kind of doubling up with the other layers, but version 6, I'm gonna add this blue detailing. So I want to add these wings and I want to add some sparkles. I'm debating on the sparkles. We'll see how it looks. So hopefully with the sketch building, you can kind of get an idea on how to build out the sketch for making a sub badge or a bit badge. We want it to kind of evolve from point A to point C? No, point 6. I can't do math. Oof, alright, I'm so sorry. My boyfriend had FaceTime me, so I took his call and I'm back and I drew a little bit while the main things is I like to draw with the Symmetry Ruler to make sure my art is symmetrical because symmetry is sexy. So when drawing or using a Symmetry Ruler in Clip Studio Paint, it's just this little like triangle icon here. You want to find a symmetrical ruler and line it up as straight as you possibly can. Close enough, okay? Now, if you want to center the ruler, you can barely see it. It's this very, very, very faint purple color. You want to click this icon here that says Operation. There's a lot of different ones. We want to make sure it's on Object, and then we want to click our ruler. Now here, you can adjust the numbers that center the X and the Y axes. We only care about the X one because I'm using a vertical symmetry ruler. If you want to make it horizontal, you'd want to adjust Y. You basically take your canvas number and divide it by 2 to get what is the center of your canvas. So we're using 2000 by 2000. So our X is 2000. So we want to change this to 1000. And then bam, now a ruler will be centered. And this is how you center your Symmetry Ruler in Clip Studio Paint. Here, let me move myself here for a second. If you look over here in the layers, whichever layer has this triangle icon is the layer that the ruler is applied to. So if I were to draw on this layer, for instance, there's no ruler and it doesn't have the symmetry. If we do want to apply it to all layers, we want to right-click our layer, and then we're going to go under ruler/frame and then click show in all layers. Now, every single layer will have the Symmetry Ruler that we apply to that one specific layer. You can always turn it off later. So I like doing so I can get the symmetry ruler through all of the layers I'm drawing on. Now, I also was working on the layers, or for the line art. So for the line art, I like to use the G pen in Clip Studio Paint. It's the same as any like pen brush in any drawing program. I like to use a 40 weight pen for the main outline details, and then 25 weights for the finer details. So like the inside circle details would be 25. And then let me turn the ruler off for a second here. And yeah, like any of the finer details, you know, like I'm using for, you know, to show the wrinkles in the bow. I don't want symmetry there to make it look more natural. I can just turn the ruler off for that and then turn it back on when I want the symmetry ruler back. So that's just a little bit. We want to make sure that we keep the line art on separate layers. So the line art that would be for our first version of the sub badge will be on one layer, and the line art for the second version will be on a different layer, etc. So that way when we're working later, we can kind of like layer each image together. I'm hoping this is making sense. My throat is kind of giving out too again. So now I finally have the line art done, and you can kind of see like where the layering is going on the right hand side here. Kind of have all the layers built together. And now we want to color, and we want to add the flat color. And again, because we're building up this sub badge from base to more complicated, we want to make sure the flat color that we add for line art is stacked as such. So for instance, we want to make sure that when we're coloring, we put this big bow, the color for this big bow on top like so. And then beneath this layer, we add the color and the line art for the tail. And then obviously because the centerpiece is going to go on top, we want to make sure the centerpiece is going to be on a layer above the bow like this, you know? So we want to make sure we're structuring the layers in a way that we can just remove the tail portion of the bow without altering the actual mid bow, and then the star or the center circle can be removed without interfering with the bow. Alright, so we finally have our flat color put down, and now we need to go shade. So again, when you're shading, make sure to not forget about the fact that some things will be revealed in certain sub badges that will not be revealed in later versions. What I mean by this is, for example, like I said prior, these wings will be the final version. So the area behind the wings won't be visible when the wings are shown, but for previous versions of the sub badge, like versions 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the wings won't be there. So the shadows here need to be visible. So make sure you shade things even behind certain elements that will be added later. So again, like the most basic version of, let me like just hide the layers. The most basic version of this sub badge is going to be only this bow. So the center needs to still be shaded, but immediately afterwards we get the centerpiece added. But because the centerpiece won't be visible for the first sub badge, the center still has to be shaded for the very first version. I'll give a brief walkthrough as to how I shade my emotes and sub badges. What I first like to do is I first like to make a new clipping layer, color select the base color that I used. All right, and then let me move myself over here. And then on the color wheel, I like to pick a cooler tone color and make it lighter, and use a soft airbrush. Just kind of go and like airbrush over certain areas that would potentially, you know, have a little bit of highlight like so. I make a new layer, and then again, we're gonna color select. I just select on the edge, that's probably closest to the base color here. I also shade with the G pen too. And we're gonna pick a warmer color, like closer to red, pick a darker color, and then we're gonna go and add our shading. So I'm just gonna shade. I always shade with, I always color as if my light source is on the left-hand side, kind of like so. So all this darker section right here, we're gonna go and shade. Sorry, shade all of this, or just kind of fill it in. It's okay if it's not perfect, since this is a sub badge, and again, like I've said a bajillion times, sub badges are extremely small, so a lot of this detail will get lost once it's downsized. So I'm just gonna add some shadows down here. I'm gonna add shadows down here as well. And then right here under normal, we're gonna go and swap it to a multiply layer and lower the opacity down. I'll make it about like 59. I just kind of eyeball it. we're gonna make a new layer. Again, color select like a highlighted area where we just airbrushed. I'm gonna move it further from red and pick a lighter color. And then we're gonna highlight along the edges here. Literally just highlight the opposite of where you shaded. So we shaded on this side, so we're gonna highlight on this side, right? We shaded on this side, so we're gonna highlight. That's basically kind of how I look at the highlighting. So the shadow was added here, so the highlight should be added on this side. Okay, and then we can add like a little sparkle type highlight like so in the center of the bow. And then I'm gonna grab a soft airbrush again. We're gonna make it smaller, about 300, you know, smaller. And then I'm gonna pick a yellow. I'm just gonna go the opposite of where I selected my highlight color. So my highlight color was kind of close to pinkish. So my shadow color was red. So I'm gonna pick still something similar to the shadow color. This is just to try to add more depth to the color, and then I'm gonna airbrush where we shaded. I like doing this because I feel like it just adds shine to my emotes, my sub badges. It gives it some more depth. All right, and then now, perfect, we're almost done. So now what we want to do is we want to scroll down. Okay, let me move myself here. Scroll down, hide the paper layer so we can make the background transparent. And then we want to find our line art layer. So where did my line art? Anyways, we want to click our line art, and then we want to go click this auto select tool and select in any dead space here. So any of this background areas, I'm gonna select this dead space, select invert selected area, select expand selected area by 30, and make sure you pick the curved expansion, like so. Now I'm gonna grab the fill tool and select pure black. And on the layers right here, let's go on a layer, you know, maybe anywhere below our bow, add a new layer and fill. And then bam, now we get this black outline that I really like. This is just my personal art style. This is just how I normally create my art. Oh, and shoot, one more thing before I forget. Let's go back to our line art and add a new clipping layer over our line art. I just like coloring in the line art. I'm just gonna grab an airbrush, soft airbrush still. It's okay if you're kind of messy with the recolor of your line art. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm gonna select like a darker color, darker red, and just kind of subtly color over the line art with this dark red color that's similar to our shading color. I don't know, I just feel like it gives us, it's a very minor detail, but I really think it just gives a softer look to your art. So now that we're done with version 1, let me go save file, export as PNG, and Sailor Moon Bow, I just name it 1. And it's just the first one. Okay, and now I'm just gonna go and hide the fill that we just created, and now we gotta go shade our next layer. So we want to go and toggle on our colored in version of version 2, which is the centerpiece right here. So again, I'm gonna go shade, and I'm probably gonna walk you over how I shade this one, and then I'll just do all of my other ones off screen. Otherwise, it's gonna take me a really long time. I don't know if you guys like want to see me walk through from start to finish completely. It's gonna be like a 2-hour video. I don't know, maybe like with edits probably like a 1-hour video, but still it's gonna be quite long of a video. If you guys are down, I'm down to do it. I just don't think people care. That's why. That's just my main thing. So I just don't want to really necessarily bother if people don't really care. But if you guys do care, I'm so down. Okay, but I'm again going to working as if my light source was coming from here, from the left side down. I'm gonna go and shade downwards like so. I like using very warm colors to shade. A big mistake that I see people make when they're shading is they don't move their hue selector. But yeah, a big mistake I see people make when they shade is they'll color select like this, and then they'll just like drag the color darker, but then it gives you this like very flat color look, see? Instead, I like to color select the background and then move the hue selector closer to red and make it darker. And then we pick a much warmer color. Wow, I picked almost the same color. Dang, but this gives you so much more warmth to your shading. So that's just a little, I don't know, tip or trick that I like to use. Also, since this is I'm trying to like shade some sort of like metal, I want this to look kind of like metalish, you know, kind of expensive. So what I like to do when shading metal is I just like to kind of arbitrarily draw like block out certain areas for shadows. Like I'm gonna block this out here, and then I'm gonna block this out here. You want to vary the size too, so I'm just gonna kind of like make the smaller one here. Okay, we see the vision here. I'm making a new layer. color select this color again, the shadow color. We're gonna move it closer to red and pick a darker color. And then kind of block in more areas of just random sections that we kind of want to block out here. And then we want to just like draw for balls. If you're trying to draw like a metallic shaped ball, we just want to draw a little circle with the darker color. Trust me on this, please trust me. I know it's gonna look kind of weird right now. This is just how I do it if I'm cell shading. New layer. Now we're gonna color select the background and move this color further away from red, so closer to green because I'm working with yellow. Pick a lighter color here. And then let's outline everything or highlight on the opposite sides where we shaded. And then, you know how we blocked in the shadows? Now we want to block in a bunch of highlights. So it's super effective if you do it on top of the shadow. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but you see like where the dark shadow is here? I'm just gonna kind of like block in a chunk that I want a highlight to be there. I'll highlight here. This whole section, I'm just gonna color it in. And then like draw a line here. Dang, now look, it looks like metal. Okay, and then remember the circles that we drew? Yeah, we want to draw another circle, but with the highlight color. And make sure it overlaps with your shadow circle color. Bam! Okay, and now it looks super metallic. And then we want to grab the airbrush tool, and then I'm just gonna pick like a warmer color, and then we're just gonna, you know, add some highlights exactly where we shaded with the airbrush. Bam, doesn't this look so metallic, so sparkly? Tips and tricks, I got y'all. Okay, and then we gotta, you know, just add some basic shading to this. Thought I heard the door open for a sec. Honestly, this pink, because it's like the underside, I don't even need to highlight it really. I'm just gonna kind of like color it like this. Like so. All right, I think this looks good enough for the pink. And then we gotta do the star. I don't know, I kind of struggle with shading stars, not gonna lie. I'm just gonna pick like a darker shadow color. I always just draw like a circle. A semicircle of the star, like so, to give it a rounder effect. And then we want to pick a highlight color. And let me draw like a circle-y dot, like so. And then we want to grab our airbrush and then kind of airbrush where I'm just gonna erase the extras and airbrush around. Okay, bam. Now the very last thing we need to do is color in the line art. So we want to make a clipping mask over our line art and then color select the darkest shadow color. So it's probably like this. And then we want to make it darker. I think this brown color. I'm just gonna grab the soft brush. Soft airbrush. God, what did I say? Soft airbrush. I don't know. I think it just makes the art look softer. So file, save, and then now where did the shadow color go? Okay, I'm just gonna find the shadow. All right, so I just toggled back on. I hid the layer for a little bit, but I'm gonna toggle the shadow we made for the bow backwards. But as you can tell, there's like certain elements of this new piece that we drew in that is not shaded or doesn't have like this heavy outline that I like to add. Go back to the auto select, click the layer of the new thing we added. We're gonna select any dead space. Select, invert selected area, select expands by 30. We're gonna grab our fill tool and then grab pure black, and then on the same layer as our bow shading, we're just gonna fill in the fill area right here. Bam. Ta-da! Now we added the shadows for the new icon thing that we just added, and make sure we go and save this. And I'm gonna export it as a PNG again, and we're gonna name it number 2 for Sailor Moon Bow version 2. All right, there we go. And through this method, I'm just gonna go through and shade and add in and save every new element that we have. So we still need the tail, we need this part of the bow, the top part of the bow, etc, etc. All right, and here we go. Here is the final. I finally finished shading all of the versions of our sub badge. I kind of changed the moon a little bit and I gave it a choker, because when the moon was sitting by itself, it looked kind of funky. So, you know, I modified it a little bit. I honestly really like the way it turned out. I'm so proud. So, also, I hope you guys can't hear the Valorant, like, background music playing, but we have one final step, and that is to go to our best friend Google. So, we want to look up Twitch Emote Resizer in Google, and we want to click the first link. It's this GitHub. I love this site so much. So, we want to find our files, and then we just want to click and drag it in here. And they give you a little preview as to what it would look like next to somebody's username as an emote and as a sub badge, and you can download it in the respective sizes. The top row is emotes, the bottom row is badges. I just like downloading them. I can't speak. I like downloading them in all 6 sizes. Reason being, if somebody were to use this as channel point badges, because I sell this on Etsy, the channel point badges are actually the badge sizes of emotes. So it requires the emote sizing, which is a little bit weird. So just want to click and download all of them, and we want to rinse and repeat with all of our 6 badges. All right, and there we go. Now you can go and see all our resized versions of our sub badge. It looks so freaking cute. I am so happy over the way they turned out. And if you want these sub badges, these will also be thrown up on my Etsy shop. It'll be linked down below, and I will stick an image in here post editing of the listing. I'm really proud of that. I'm sorry. I feel like today I'm kind of out of it. My kind of all over the place, but I really wanted to make this video. But if you guys like this video, please let me know. Please like and subscribe. It'll mean a lot to me, and I would appreciate it so much if you check me out on Twitch. I stream 5 days a week, although that's might go down to 4 days a week because I keep losing my voice. And I stream a lot of just chatting art and streaming advice. So if you're down for any of that, I'd love to see you there. And I hope to catch you guys in another video. Peace.